Welcome back to Grapplefk, everyone. We're covering Johnny Walker v Ryan Spann, a very interesting fight that's going down on Saturday, UFC Vegas 11. So I'll start off with the stats. Johnny Walker is 6'6", Spann is 6'5", so they're both massive. Johnny Walker has a 3-inch reach advantage and is giving up 1 inch in leg reach. In terms of other stats, significant strike accuracy for Johnny Walker is a lot higher. However, he's had less fights in the UFC. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah, he has overall, I think. His takedown average.
I think it's close. I think it might
Is
have.
It close? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
More? Yeah.
One more.
Either way, it's comparable experience anyway.
Yeah, because Ryan Spann had 2 in the Contender Series, right? Which isn't technically the UFC. So
yeah, you can't call that the UFC, really.
Yeah, you can't call that the UFC. Yeah, you're right. In terms of takedown accuracy, Johnny Walker's 100%, but I mean he doesn't really go for takedowns, so that's probably skewed. Ryan Spann is 30%. Yeah, so those are the stats. In terms of, I think what's important with this fight is the background, is the role that both fighters are on. Johnny Walker's coming off a two-loss streak. He got knocked out by Corey Anderson, who is a very, very good fighter in Bellator now. And then he lost a decision to, I can't remember who he lost a decision to. Is it a Russian fella?
Nikita Krylov.
Ukrainian or Russian, probably, I'm assuming from that name. Anyway, Ryan Spann has won 7 or 8 in a row, including 3 or 4 fights in the UFC and 2 Contender Series fights. In terms of style, I mean, Johnny Walker there was a lot of hype about him coming into the UFC. He knocked out Sekhanov in round 1. He knocked out Roundtree in round 1, I think it was. He's very explosive, very, very quick. Ryan Spann is a bit more calculated, has better wrestling. That's about it for a preliminary introduction. What are your thoughts, Andrew?
This is a really tricky one, and much of this fight depends on how good we think Johnny Walker really is.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult to know, although I think I've got it figured out. So, of course, as you mentioned, he had 3 very fast knockouts with the elbows, the spinning back fists. And in some cases, it's literally 15 seconds, 30 seconds. And he just looks phenomenal. And, you know, the way he moved, doing all this stuff, very evasive, very strange movement, disguising what he's going to do. In those first 3 fights, it worked fantastically. But I remember when those first 3 fights happened, and then he had the matchup with Corey Anderson. Yeah. And Johnny Walker, I think, was maybe a favorite in that fight.
I believe he was, which pissed Corey off quite a bit.
It really did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pissed him off so much he's fucked off the Bellator now.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, you know, how are people so hot on Johnny Walker? Because you've seen him for a total of like 2 minutes in the cage. How can you know how good he really is?
Yeah.
And I think, yes, you know, if you're knocking people out with elbows and spinning back fists in 15 seconds, yes, that's really good. And you're really good at that thing. But let's say the fight goes into, you know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or the second round. That's, you know, the elbows and spinning back fists, the fancy stuff is not going to help you. And, you know, we saw that with Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson, you know, derailed that hype train, cracked him, I think, with a big right hand, and then beat him from pillar to post in one of the most spectacular beatings I've ever seen. It was magnificent.
And he went crazy after as well.
Oh yeah, he did. He was guttural screaming. It was great. He really messed up Walker's side of the face. Yeah. But then, okay, with that fight, okay, he got caught. You know, you can still get caught by an elite level fighter.
Which very good fighter.
Is, yeah. And you can still be a real prospect in the division. So, okay, draw a line under that. We move on to the next fight against Nikita Krylov. And I think now we have a greater sense of what Johnny Walker is about and how good he really is. Because that went the full 15 minutes, and the fancy stuff where he's doing this and the elbows and the spinning back fists, it didn't really work. He was getting countered immediately by Krylov. Krylov landed on him quite a lot and clean and hard.
Yeah.
And, Johnny Walker, we didn't see much head movement. He was there to be hit. And he was never in that fight. There wasn't a moment where he was really seriously in that fight. And Nikita Krylov, who is not an elite fighter, I think he's very good, but he's not an elite fighter. I don't think he's an elite striker from what I've seen, although I'll admit I don't know too much about him.
Yeah.
He outstruck Johnny Walker pretty badly.
Yeah.
So that says it all for me. If you're getting outstruck by Nikita Krylov, I think we've found his level.
I think I'm sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so I was going to say to you that my question for you is, how does that level match up against, well, first of all, do you agree with that assessment? And if so, how does Nikita Krylov's level match up against Ryan Spann's?
Yeah, I do agree with that assessment. I think what needs to be taken into consideration alongside that is Johnny Walker keeps moving camp, which is not particularly helpful. So he's moved camp from Brazil to Canada to Ireland, from TriStar in Ireland. Now he's at SBG under John Kavanagh. Obviously, Conor McGregor's camp.
I thought it was at, I thought it was still with Firas Zahabi. No?
Well, there you go. So he's moved again.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's at SBG now under John Kavanagh. SBG is a very good fight camp. Current UFC fighters include Makwan Amikani, Mr. Finland / the sex curd, as I call him.
The sex curd.
Yeah,
That's
the sex curd.
The sex curd.
That should be his nickname, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, they produce good fighters too. And John Kavanagh is a good coach, good striking coach. There are good BJJ coaches there as well. Dylan Dennis is involved with that camp and a few others.
Conor McGregor, right?
Yeah, Conor McGregor, but he's not active. But yeah, Conor McGregor's their biggest fighter. And then there are others as well that are in the UFC. Gunnar Nelson, for instance, he's involved with them too. He's saying he's had the best camp ever, but obviously you would say that going into a fight. I think that played a massive part in that, and confidence issues probably played a massive part with his performance against Krylov. I don't think Johnny Walker's an elite fighter yet. However, I think the ingredients are there if someone guides him correctly. He's very explosive. He has the ability. He's just a bit of an idiot when it comes to fighting. He doesn't take it seriously sometimes. Quite similar to how Michel Pereira fights, who's also a Brazilian, does fancy stuff.
I would say Michel Pereira is streets ahead of Johnny Walker. He's a serious fighter.
I mean, you say that, but Johnny Walker's still got three wins in the UFC, 2 over quite well-known opponents, Serkinov and Roundtree, and he KO'd both of them in round 1.
Roundtree's not all that, man, honestly.
Yeah, but then
I don't rate that win. That's a fair comment. Well, the guy he just beat, the Russian guy.
Yeah, but he had 2 losses in the UFC.
Fair.
Yeah, but I mean that's off topic anyway. Your main question was how does all of this tie into Spann? Now Spann is very good. I think overall in terms of MMA capability and all-round fighter, he's better than Johnny Walker. The problem I see with Spann is he starts very slowly. And Johnny Walker coming out being the old Johnny Walker, going for some crazy shit, crazy strikes. We can see he's got 70% significant strike accuracy. What happens then? What happens in round 1? Because in his last fight against smiling Sam Alvey, he went for a takedown. He nearly got Sam Alvey out of there with a stand-up guillotine, some kind of standing guillotine choke. Yep. He's very good with his submissions. However, after Sam Alvey got out of that, Sam Alvey kept landing the right hand to the point that he actually outstruck him over the 3 rounds, but the fight was given to Ryan Spann. I'm assuming because the judges gave it to him due to the control time and the takedowns, but he outstruck him over the 3 rounds. My concern is what happens when Johnny Walker hits you hard 3 or 4 times? The old Johnny Walker, let's say. And this is why this fight's putting me off so much. Spann's got a very good record. He's put together a lot of fights, but Johnny Walker has got phenomenal explosiveness and KO power, and Spann was getting tagged in that fight quite a lot. Alvy's not the fastest boxer in the world. So
Yeah,
I'm very confused as to how this will go. I'm not putting this in the cum-cum.
I think you're right about Ryan Spann being slow. If you're getting outstruck by Sam Alvey, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, and also another thing, Ryan Spann is flat-footed. So if you're flat-footed, your mobility is restricted. You can still move your head. He does move his head, but you're not getting out of the way. And part of me thinks that if he's just standing there, then Johnny Walker can land his fancy stuff. He can land the elbows. He can land the spinning back fist. And again, Ryan Spann sometimes is there to be hit. But yeah, I don't know. My issue with Johnny Walker is that when he gets hit, his world falls apart. Right? We say this a lot on this podcast. There are some fighters who look amazing going forward. They're amazing fighters, aggressive fighters, but they're very bad defensive fighters. And I think that's a very serious area of weakness for Johnny Walker. I think to Ryan Spann's credit, I think everything you said about his speed is true, but he hits really hard. He does have legitimate KO power, not that much in the UFC, but for example, in the Devin Clark fight, I think it was him.
Yeah.
He was landing, pretty slow punches, but he lands with such a force that at times Devin Clark was almost running away.
Well, they're light heavyweights. They're going to hit hard. They're both going, at that weight, if someone's hitting you.
But I mean, Devin Clark was turning his back,
and then he submitted him, right?
Yes. Of course, it was the strikes that set up the guillotine choke.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are, like Kevin Lee, we're seeing holes in both fighters' games here.
Doing the old Kevin Lee again. That never gets old, by the way. So good. I see holes in Khabib's game. Yeah. That's why
sure.
He's 28-0. But going back to this, it's a tough one. In terms of a prediction, I'm saying this with 60% confidence, by the way. And I think the odds reflect this because I think Johnny Walker's a slight favorite in this. Ryan Spann is plus 120 or 130. I can't remember. Can you check, please? I think Johnny Walker's the favorite.
Yeah.
In terms of my prediction, I think this could be Johnny Walker's comeback fight. I think he can get Ryan Spann out of there.
Johnny Walker is a minus 125 favorite.
Yeah.
Ryan Spann is even money.
And the reason why I say that is because Johnny Walker comes out very aggressive in round 1 and 2. He's got a longer reach and he hits very, very hard. And Ryan is there to be hit. However, this is not going in the cum-cum for me. I'll probably put a separate bet down on Johnny Walker KOing him. Or TKOing him, finishing him, whatever. But yeah, that's my prediction. But this is an incredibly hard fight to predict.
It is.
Very, very difficult.
I think Ryan Spann wins this on the basis that I think Johnny Walker, his striking actually sucks. Where when you take away don't get me wrong, like the fancy stuff when he's coming forward, it's worked really well. When he's the aggressor, it works really well. When people are actually firing back, it falls apart. And he looks really bad. I mean, Nikita Krylov he ruined him over 3 rounds. Admittedly, much of that was on the feet, on the ground. Sorry. Uh, we saw what Corey Anderson did to him. I feel like against the level of Ryan Spann, we could see the same thing happen again. I just don't think Johnny Walker's that good at all. So I'm going to go with Ryan Spann. Probably TKO. As you said, he's a slow starter, Ryan Spann. He can look a bit
Yeah.
lackadaisical at times. But when he gets going, he really gets going. I'm going to say TKO round 2 for Ryan Spann. And I probably
Yeah,
will
and
bet on that. Not in the come, but as a single bet.
yeah, this isn't one to put in the come, in my opinion. And your opinion too. But that's a good point about the ground game stuff as well, because Ryan got Sam Alvey down quite easily. And Ryan, let's check the stats actually.
Yeah, Ryan
His
Spann's
takedown
taken.
accuracy is 30%, which isn't great.
That's
Which is
bad.
not great
Yeah,
at all.
that's
Yeah, takedown defense 60%. That's okay-ish. He lands more than he absorbs. This really isn't telling us much. But I mean, I think he's a better wrestler than Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker, I've never seen him wrestle. Can you remember a fight he's wrestled in?
No. I mean, Nikita Krylov wrestled him and
Yeah.
was mostly dominated. He got up maybe once in the first round, but he was mostly dominated by Nikita Krylov.
I mean, these two figures, 100% and 69%, these are very heavily skewed because he had 3 very, very quick finishes early in his UFC career, which involved no wrestling or grappling, basically. So, I mean, we know, I think Ryan's definitely a better grappler and wrestler than him. Although Johnny Walker does have a brown belt in BJJ, but I don't think he's ever submitted anyone.
Not that I'm aware, no.
Yeah, definitely not in the UFC, possibly outside, but yeah. It's a tough one, but I think I'm sticking to Johnny Walker. I think he'll KO or TKO Ryan early in the fight. I'll go with him.
How though? Is it an elbow? Is it a punch?
Punches and elbows combination, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my theory. I think Ryan's there to be hit in round 1. That's not a good thing against Johnny Walker.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say for all the viewers at home, many fans across the world, this probably isn't a good one to bet on. You probably want to look past this one. Because, yeah, it's a very close fight. There's no real value either way.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you're going Johnny Walker KO round 1. I'm going Ryan Spann TKO/KO round 1.
I thought you said round 2.
Oh, round 2. Yeah, I'll say round 2. Yeah.
Round 2. Okay. Yeah, and again, just to reiterate what Andrew's saying, stay away. Do not put this in the come. That's my advice. A small outside bet. You know, if you're confident in a person, that's fine, but definitely not in the come because this is, yeah,
Too close. Yeah.
it's too close, exactly, and the odds show that. But that's anything else you want to add about this?
No, I'm good. Other than the fact that this is an interesting fight.
It's a very interesting fight on a stacked card.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I think if Ryan Spann wins this, that'll be what, 4 or 5 wins in a row?
Yeah.
Then he's looking like a very serious contender. If Johnny Walker loses this, then I think he's done. Probably.
He's fucked. He is fucked if he loses this.
He might get one more chance to redeem himself, then he's probably out the UFC.
Yeah, well, it's number 11 against number 12. So, yeah, I mean, if Ryan wins this... Sorry?
Yeah, I was just thinking, yeah, Johnny Walker's number 11. That's actually not surprising given those 3.
Yeah,
first round
3.
Knockouts.
Yeah. Yeah, so if Ryan wins this, he'll be attacking the top 10 very, very easily. would
Yeah.
definitely have a top 10 fight lined up.
I mean, it's crazy how big these guys are for light
They are
heavy.
huge.
Yeah.
They're taller than most heavyweights.
Yeah, for sure. And they're not skinny.
No, they're not. They're not.
Yeah, they've
But
got big legs. I mean, reasonably sized legs as well.
they are big dudes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching again, everyone. That's our conclusion. I've got Johnny Walker by KO or TKO round 1. And Andrew?
Ryan Spann, KO/TKO round 2.
And just as a reminder again, do not put this in the cum. That's our opinion. Stay tuned for more fight picks. We'll be coming at you very, very, very soon. Thanks for viewing and take care, everybody. Bye.